Welcome back. With us now is Dr. Mohamed Nashar. He is Dean of the College of Language and Communication. Good morning, Dr.
Good
Nashar.
morning.
So you are one of the speakers
Yes, I am.
of the conference, and you're going to give your input.
My honor. Yes.
Of course, it's a great honor to have you in the conference, and also to be able to explore together the vision for renewing the religious discourse according to the directives of President Abdel Fattah Sisi, because ever since he stepped into office, he has been very concerned with that issue. So how do you see the role of the media in updating and correcting the religious discourse?
Of course, the role of media, the role of social media in general now, it's very, very profound, multifaceted, and fundamental. It reflects the changing dynamics of religious discourse. Religious discourse in the past is different from religious discourse now, as you know. If we take examples of the Friday sermons, where imams and religious leaders try to, yes, of course, preach and try to convey accurate and moderate messages for their worshippers. Not only do these broadcasts are conveyed locally, but they are, they are conveyed internationally, globally through media. Besides, again, the role of media is very fundamental and pivotal in countering extremist ideologies. So in provoking and I mean in disseminating religious discourse, correct and moderate Islamic teachings are conveyed properly to the Muslim world, and to discourage hate speech, to discourage radical interpretations of Islam, which are unfortunately profound and on countless platforms. So it's a real and unprecedented challenge for imams and religious leaders, and the minister and Al-Azhar institution, of course, the Grand Imam and the Minister of Religious Endowments, and all religious leaders, actually, to how to counter extremist ideologies, which we suffered from, over a decade or more than 20 or 30 or 40
and other
years.
Countries are suffering also.
Yes, of course, and many other countries are suffering. So it's a unique opportunity for us to harness efforts and exert lots of efforts to counter terrorism in this terrorism and extremism in this field.
So, Doctor, from building on what you're saying, we can conclude that the root of all problems and extremism and wrong ideologies and trading with religion and using religion for other, interests starts with preaching inside the mosque.
Exactly.
I mean, talking to people, using the rhetoric to be able to reach to the simple minds. Sometimes most of them are illiterate, and they could be easily be misguided, and that's what happened. That's what happened when they recruited most of them in the militants, in the extremist militants. So I want you now to focus over the idea of using rhetoric in religion. How dangerous, or it's a two-sided weapon. Rhetoric could be constructive, and at the very same time could be very destructive.
Exactly.
So explain to us how.
Of course, rhetoric, has long been a profound, perilous, and very, very important tool and vehicle for communicating discourse in general and the religious discourse in particular. So rhetoric in Friday sermons, imams and religious leaders try to use allegorical language, try to use metaphorical language to persuade their worshippers of the accurate Islamic teachings. They may also use parables, they may share anecdotes from Islamic history to tell worshippers the positive and negative consequences of ethical and unethical behavior of their predecessors, so as to go and to follow the right path. So the rhetoric is an indispensable tool that all imams should be well versed in using to convey the correct and accurate Islamic teachings through sermons and through other online platforms, which are countless. So it's a challenge between the good and the bad. So if platforms festering with misinterpretations of Islam are found, on the other hand, online platforms in conveying from government and from respectable religious institutions in Egypt and everywhere actually in the Arab world should also exert tremendous efforts, and they are, by the way, exerting tremendous efforts in countering that and in conveying the opposite message, which is the correct and proper teachings of Islam. So these are very, very important tools, of course. They can't be dispensed with, the tools, the modern tools, the
Right.
social media, of course.
Building on what you're saying, also we can also conclude that it would require more than a preacher and more than a religious scholar. It would require intellectuals like you. It could professors in universities, people with cultural backgrounds other than religion. It would be, people who would be aware enough to talk to people so that they could be able to choose, make their own choices, that is not built on preachers or someone who is have an authority over them to direct them to choose between this and that. They can choose by their own heart.
Of course,
So
this is not, of course, if the primary concern of the primary effort goes to religious institutions being well versed in Islamic teachings, this should not be restricted, as you say, to only imams, because they are, if there are hundreds, they are still few. It should be, generalized to the general public, to intellectuals, to leaders of the nation in general, to convey what should be conveyed of proper Islamic teachings through online
And
platforms,
academics also,
and
like
through universities, through schools, all universities, even the family itself, the father, the mother, actually should teach their siblings and their sons and daughters how to accurately work on the Islamic teachings and how not to be dragged into misinterpretations of Islam that will go and will slip them into extremist ideologies. This is very, very important. So it's a general effort. It's a global and nationwide effort. Yes, led by religious institutions, but of course it should be other brackets and other intellectual categories should also be incorporated in this noble, in this blessed effort into towards correcting let's call the distorted image taken about us abroad by few extremists.
Right, and that's what's exactly happening in the 34th International Conference for Islamic Affairs. It is hosting people from all walks of life, and on top of them is people of the academia and also intellectuals, and you can see that there is really a change in religious discourse, or just a vision that is being built, founded on the ground. So my other question to you is, what is the purpose of the 34th International Conference for Islamic Affairs according to the vision of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, to be able to found an ideology since the early beginnings, probably by toddlers, by people in schools, not necessarily people who go to the mosques, the adults. It could be other people, the younger people also.
The 34th International Conference for Islamic Affairs, of course, it is a sign of the new republic that the president is launching and has launched. It is a multifaceted purpose. It's very, very fundamental and pivotal. It has many purposes. I'm going to focus on two purposes maybe. How to adapt to the digital age. So we have, it seeks to acknowledge and to respond to the changing dynamics and the transformative impact of the digital age on religious discourse. So preachers in the past should be different from preachers of today. So the online communication, the digital communication, the online platforms, all these tools should be harnessed well by imams and Muslim leaders and all religious students to convey, as we said, the accurate and proper teachings of Islam to the largest group. Not only these broadcasts are conveyed locally, but they can also be conveyed globally as well, and this is a unique and unprecedented opportunity for imams. So it's a challenge and it is an opportunity as well So let's maximize this opportunity for leaders. The second thing is to explore the impact of social media. And of course, as you said, it's double faceted and it's two-pronged impact. It's mixed blessing. It's good and bad, the positive consequences of social media, but it also has negative consequences. So it's our aim, the aim of the conference is to explore the venues, the new venues opened by that have been opened by social media, in trying to investigate and explore these and optimize the positive aspects of these platforms, while being vigilant against the proliferation of radical interpretations and even misinterpretations of Islamic teachings. This is extremely serious. How to strike this balance between dissemination of Islamic teachings, proper Islamic teachings and accurate ones, and how to discourage hate speech, discourage cyberbullying, encourage responsible online behavior, how to disseminate ethical behavior, and how to discourage unethical behavior on the internet. This is very, very important.
Of course. And this is going to take us to another important idea or item, which is, or pillar, which is the modern means of religious discourse, or the modern image, the modern phase that would take us to the right religious discourse. Of course, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have set a new vision for this discourse. We're not going to get rid of the content of the Holy Book. We're not going to get rid of the Hadith, but we are going to present them or reflect them to the whole world, even the non-Muslims, in the right course, because there was a lot of misconception. There was a lot of faking of the content and many other things. So how do you assess the modern vision for the religious discourse?
In two ways. If we discuss first the modern tools, we have modern tools of technology in the digital space and digital realm, never dreamt of by our predecessors or Muslim predecessors. We have webinars, we have online, we have platforms, online platforms, we have podcasts, we have mobile applications, we have e-learning, electronic learning. We also have live streaming services. In live streaming services, if we talk about live streaming services, this provides a unique opportunity for individuals from Egypt and around the Muslim world to meet and to join gatherings globally without being necessarily physically present there. So that one message can be communicated globally in just a flick of a finger. This is that was undreamt of in the past. So this is, I believe, this is more of an opportunity than a challenge. If we talk about how to use these tools beneficially, how to use them accurately, we can use them
to choose between
these among all these tools, and how to optimize the best and proper use of these tools. First, to ensure that they provide accurate information, of course, about Islamic teachings. They promote tolerance. They foster interfaith dialogue, and this is very, very important. Egypt is home to different religions, especially, of course, Muslims and Christians.
And different civilizations also.
And lots of civilizations, as you say, of course. So if we use these apps, we use these tools and platforms properly, we can foster a sense of unity, harmony, tolerance, peaceful coexistence among all these groups. And we can live in an almost ideal society.
And we can, on top of all, we can sort out lots and lots of political conflicts that are existing in neighboring countries.
Of course, we can shun that, and can evade that automatically.
Of course. But talking about choosing, directing people, or setting a program, or launching a campaign, or setting a vision for the citizen, or for people, for Muslims, especially the young Muslims, to be able to figure out and choose between a good site I mean, a good social media website and a wrong one. Probably there should be some program, there should be some vision that is set. Is that included in the conference?
It is very, very much included. Of course, it's an onerous responsibility shouldered by imams and Muslim leaders and those at the helm of the religious institutions in Egypt, how to sift through all these platforms. Because if we pursue the traditional programs that were used to be aired 30 or 40 years ago, this will not be quite appealing to young people and to adults. So it's for them, it's up for them to sift through certain programs and that resonate with the young people, that talk to their concerns and address their concerns, their questions, in order to be appealing to them and to be persuasive to them easily.
Well, Dr. Mahmoud Nashar, you are Dean of the College of Language and Communication. We're very delighted to have you here. And we still haven't finished even half of what we're supposed to talk about, but unfortunately we ran out of time on a promise that you could visit us, give us a visit on the breakfast show
Always my pleasure
some
and honor.
very near time soon.
My pleasure.
Hopefully,
and honor.
inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nashar. And on this, we're going to be, I think that ends this edition of the Breakfast Show for today. Many thanks to all of you. Until we see you tomorrow morning, that's a goodbye.